Hello my good friends, I hope you are all doing fine. Welcome to the channel Digimon Explained. My name is Jesse and in this video we're going to be discussing a very interesting Digimon called Boltboutamon. And the reason why I wanted to talk about it in its own video is because the idea behind this Digimon is that it represents a sort of new era of villains. Let me say it in other words. Boltboutamon was introduced as a villain in the game Digimon World Next Order, representing a new generation of villains. The concept was so interesting that I wanted to simply talk about it in its own video. See, Boltboutamon's goal is to erase the old concept of darkness and thereby create a new one represented by itself. And what is so special about this Digimon is that its power is so great that even the 7 great demon lords had to flee the dark area to travel to the dimensional sea. Boltboutamon made them flee actually. So it is powerful for sure. And when you take into account its origins, I was extremely intrigued by it. See, Boltboutamon is a vile and wicked Digimon through which the so-called Malevolent Fist, otherwise known as the Grudgeful Hand, served as the source of evil that caused Myotismon to be forcibly fused with Piedmon. Speaking of, we did discuss Myotismon thoroughly in its own video, make sure to check it out if you haven't already, and we also discussed Piedmon in the Explaining WITCHELNY video. It was a long video and part of me is wondering if I should make a video focusing on Piedmon itself, but anyway, we'll see more about that later. But in other words, Boltboutamon is the titular Grudgeful Hand after creating a body for itself from the data of Piedmon and Myotismon's bodies, revealing that everything it had done until that point was just so that it could figure out a way to merge the data of the two component Digimon. The following was written about Boltboutamon. The deep grudge hand, born out of the grudge data filled in the dark area, is the worst Digimon because it originated from a devil that caused Piedmon to forcibly absorb VAMDEMON, otherwise known as Myotismon. There's no ego of Piedmon and Myotismon, and it works with the intention held by Deep Grudge Hand. That intention is the eradication of light to erode the world in the dark. Let's be clear on one thing. Boltboutamon is relatively simple when you see its basic fighting tools. It can multiply the swords it carries on its waist using magic and sends them flying, and it can fire bullets from its guns. Again, very simple, but that is not what is making Boltboutamon so dangerous. It is a Digimon that is created by the Malevolent Fist, a mysterious and very unexplored power that is actually going to be a focus in this video. See, the Malevolent Fist is a force that doesn't have a physical form, but it is still a force that was powerful enough to destroy the world of the 7 great demon lords and actually whole universes, which exist by the many. So we are actually talking about a multiversal threat with so many capabilities that I even became surprised I didn't speak about it earlier. Now, while we didn't get much of a description about this force from the Digimon wiki, luckily we can find a lot of the information in the Digimon Next Order dialogues, so we are going to be checking that for a moment. The Malevolent Fist is able to create protective barriers to prevent the passage of opponents, and these same barriers are capable of cancelling even instant teleportation, which means that Digimon with teleporting abilities or with abilities to create portals, like MASTER, who can create portals to other dimensions, will all of them be rendered entirely useless. The Malevolent Fist is also capable of manipulating darkness. This might ask for some more explanation. See, the beings in the dark area have a natural control over darkness. Think of the 7 demon lords who each of them represent a particular sin, or a Pokemon, a Digimon who appeared when negative thoughts were drawn together by darkness. But the Malevolent Fist has a new power over this ancient concept of darkness, hence why Boltboutamon even says that it will swallow up all of this old darkness and mix it together into a new dark power. This is only showing that Boltboutamon represents a new type of villain with plans to cleanse the world from its old evil to become the new generation of evil. The Malevolent Fist is able to paralyze opponents, thus preventing them from moving. It is able to control the minds of multiple opponents at the same time and thereby control their actions, and this is also something very big, especially when you take into account certain Digimon who carry with them immense powers. The Malevolent Fist is also able to summon allies to aid on the battlefield, and it is able to open portals and suck opponents by removing them from the battlefield. It is able to multiply Digimon to fight more opponents at the same time. It can absorb the energy of its enemies and use it to strengthen itself. It can revert powers, and this one is actually very interesting, because it means that the Malevolent Fist is able to reverse the principle behind powers and use them to its advantage. This could pretty much render a whole attack useless. If there's an attack that could be very powerful against Boltboutamon, well, essentially this would mean that the effects would be nullified. the Malevolent Fist is able to create portals and thus transport itself. It can create a body of its own. After all, the Boltboutamon we know of is just a physical manifestation that was possessed by the Malevolent Fist, and the Malevolent Fist is able to copy the totality of the opponents that it has possessed. So a force this great, this powerful is certainly one that should be at least recognized by the fandom. We are literally talking about yet another multiversal threat, just like VAMDEMON, who we have yet to discuss, and there are other of such multiversal threats. We will make a top 10 list of these Digimon. Now I have another story to tell you which will be a little dark and yet very interesting, and it might appear somewhat out of the blue, but it will make sense in the end. So in the story background of Digimon Survive and some other Digimon media, there is a type of life form called Kemonogami, also known as Beast God. And studying their background will make you understand that Digimon were not born as a result of humans creating computers. Instead, Digimon always existed, living alongside humans, though in another dimension, becoming visible to humans once they created computers and digital technology. And in some places, humans came to worship and fear the Kemonogami as such that they would provide them with children as sacrifices in the hopes it would keep them safe. And in one small village, the locals created a shrine dedicated to worshipping the Kemonogami, though eventually they would bar anyone from going near due to many people going missing. Why am I telling you all of this? Well, you see, during the Kamakura period around the years 1185 till 1333, a period of Japanese history, 5 children were offered up to the Kemonogami by Yukiha Minase in an attempt to gain their powers, with Yukiha actually offering up her brother Haruchika as one of the sacrifices. Upon getting to the alternate world, Haruchika ended up becoming partners with Hanglungmon, while the other 4 becoming partners to the 4 sovereign monsters Baihumon, Ebonwumon, Azulongmon and Jukiaomon. Now, Haruchika had a wicked mind, however, which caused the Kemonogami to turn savage. He wanted to use their powers to return to the human world and kill his sister, the entire Minase clan, and then destroy the entire world in revenge for being sacrificed. His rage and thirst for revenge caused Hanglungmon to become Master, who Haruchika tells to destroy the world. In order to give it more power, Haruchika tells Master to absorb him, which it does. And when Master fought against the 4 other harmonious ones, they were almost able to defeat it, but at the last second they became unable to actually kill their friend. So in order to help save the world, the 4 sovereign monsters used their powers to seal Master off in 4 different directions, with them unable to leave the shrines. And this was able to last hundreds of years, in fact thousands of years in alternate world time, though Master eventually breaks free due to their powers weakening. It then continues where it left off, still desiring to return to the human world to get its revenge. Why am I suddenly talking about the Kemonogami called Master? Well, in Digimon Survive, Boltboutamon traveled to Master's domain and attacks it, but ended up being defeated. And just in case, there's one thing I want you to keep in mind, the Boltboutamon here is not necessarily the one controlled by the Malevolent Fist. Anyway, so Boltboutamon was defeated and ended up being absorbed by Master, which then gave Master the power to travel to the human world instead. But this was a mistake because Boltboutamon absorbed Master from the inside and forced a fusion between them, leading to the creation of Boltboutamon Fusion. A being that now had even more power as it gained the power of every single being sacrificed to Master, which also allowed it to hear their thoughts. And at that point, in the Digimon Survive story, more than thousands of people and Digimon were absorbed. Boltboutamon in this fusion form is extremely powerful as it can even open gates to the human world. The only problem with this fusion is that those that had been sacrificed are somehow still alive inside Master, and they began singing together while Boltboutamon fusion was fighting, and the singing caused it to get weakened enough to be defeated. However, is this really the end? For Boltboutamon, probably, but for Master the following was written. After Master's defeat, its data reformats into an egg. Master was able to communicate through its egg and laughs, stating that it will never fade. It tells the humans that it still has to sacrifice children to save the world. Its egg then vanishes. As it wasn't destroyed, this indicates it would hatch one day and try to achieve its plan once again. Hi guys, this is the end of the video, and like that we have discussed Boltboutamon in its own video, and we mentioned the Digimon life form Master. Don't you love it that the Digimon world hides more than just Digimon? Really interesting. I also like that Boltboutamon was created by this Malevolent Fist. I hope the Digimon developers will explore this concept more and make it become even more relevant, because I think it's very interesting and I'd like to see it being compared to, let us say, other threats. Anyway, what are your opinions about Boltboutamon? What are your opinions about Master? What are your opinions about the Malevolent Fist? Let us know in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed already, please make sure to do so, and know that all Digimon videos are in particular Digimon playlists, which are always updated. That way you can catch up on newer and older videos.